Hi class. So this week we are going to be kind of focusing on mental and emotional disorders with students, um, but in particular how to provide intervention for students with mental and emotional disorders. And so um, I'm having you read two chapters in the textbook related to one, providing individual and group counseling within schools, as well as parent-community collaboration, because these are two ways in which we can support and support students who are dealing with mental and emotional disorders, is through the interventions that we directly provide to them, as well as the interventions we indirectly provide to them in terms of collaboration with parents and other stakeholders on behalf of the students. So this week there is reading, but I think it is meaningful reading and not reading just to fill time. One is, besides the chapters in the book, one is called Cultural Competent Collaboration, School Counselors Collaboration with African American Families and Communities. I think that when we are thinking about working with other individuals on behalf of students, particularly the parents are, although you might think it might be peers, but parents, families, guardians are the primary way in which students receive all the information that they understand in terms of the world. And so, and they are the greatest influencer of a child's life, whether it be academic, college, etc. And so being able to connect with them is extremely important. And so the idea is that even in those connections with our families, we need to also be culturally competent in those particular interactions. So this is a really good article, but I also give you information related to ASCA position statements on collaboration as well. We're not doing this video because the problem, although ASCA told me that it was corrected, it's still not correct, and so there is no webinar for this week. My hope is that it will eventually get corrected, so if you want to be able to go back and look at that video, you'll be able to. But for this week, it's not requirement. Give you some more optional information in terms of position statements for ASCA, in terms of individual student planning related to post-secondary preparation, as well as ASCA's position on group counseling. I also have, although this was a topic of someone's presentation, I also have optional content related to motivating the unmotivated student that I think are that's important. So if you open it up, you will see some content related to something called mistaken goals. This is very helpful because a lot of times people think that students are just acting out, but really for no apparent reason. But there's always a reason why a student might act out in school, and so I think this is very helpful. Top techniques for influencing challenging students, I think, is also very important for you to kind of read upon. And then this is a really good documentary series called Dropout Nation. It's old, but it's still very meaningful. It's a little bit long too, so only do it when you have extra time. And this is a small video about the difference between IEP and Section 504 that I think is a really good video that kind of gives it in a really short period of time. And so this is all optional, of course. The other thing is, here is an optional podcast. It's not a webinar, podcast on engaging parents. And so definitely listen to that. It's not that long, probably about 15 minutes in length. So that's very informative. And then we come to our work for the week on collaboration and consultation. As always, please use the document that I have provided for you to do this particular assignment. If I'm not asking for paragraph format, do not give me paragraph format. So imagine, so the task is for you, imagine you are a school counselor and a teacher comes to you with concerns regarding one of her students, one of her or his student who has been acting out in class. So again, the instructions are you must use the information from the chapters and the readings that are placed within Blackboard. If you give your opinion, this is not an opinion paper. I want facts of how you do it based upon what you are reading and listening to from this week's work. If you give your opinion, you're going to receive a 0 for this particular assignment. Because I'm being harsh, because I constantly have to tell the class to stop giving their opinion and utilize facts of what will work and why one believes what they believe. And I'm still not getting individuals using the content within the course that you are learning. And so that becomes important because those things are based upon research. So definitely do use the resources to do this assignment within this week. And also, please use this form and don't do something completely different from this, right? So what you're going to do is develop a plan of action for this teacher. And so plan of action is going to be within here. And I have lines, but it could be a little bit longer than this, but this is kind of how I want it to be. So you will do your typing, you can remove these lines here, and you can, type as long as you want in terms of your action plan for this teacher, right? So the action plan could incorporate, you might want to do some type of assessment, there might be questions, there might be observations involved, and all these other kind of things that you might want to do in order to help this teacher. How are you going to help this teacher work with this student who's acting out in class? What model, so that's for one, what model of collaboration did you use in your action plan, right? Because in your textbook, it gives you different types of models. So what model of collaboration did you use? And that goes right here. 2, so 3, why did you use this model of collaboration? So you need to explain why you use that model of explanation, that model of collaboration here. Then, what cultural aspect of the student and teacher should you take into consideration? That goes here, right? What cultural aspect of the student and teacher should you take in consideration? Understanding that they're not going to be the same. And then lastly, how could you utilize individual and or group counseling skills for this student? And that should go in number 5. And that's all you have to do. Remember, I need for you to use the work of this week to complete this assignment for this week. So, and so it becomes extremely important in terms of cultural aspect of the student and the teacher. You can make this up. You can say whatever cultural aspect that you want that they have, but I want you to be able to explain how you're taking whatever you make up there into consideration in terms of your action plan. And that becomes extremely important. Once you finish it, save it. I'm looking for it to be in this format. 1 goes with number 1, 2 goes with number 2, 3 goes with question 3, 4 goes with 4, and then 5 goes with 5. Do not mix and match them. They're very, they're very specific. And then, of course, complete weekly folder survey 12. So that's what we are doing for this week. I hope everything goes well for you. I hope the other thing is that the shadow experience paper is coming due, and it will be submitted in this week's folder on Wednesday. So on Wednesday at noon, I would expect to see the Shadow Experience paper. Unless you've already emailed me and let me know that you're going to be late, I would expect that I see everyone's Shadow Experience project completed by next week, Wednesday. Have a good day.